Alexa, pause. Hey yo. Too small word Bodonski. Too small word Flashikowski. I'm on getting chi chap. What we got going on today? Welcome to Opinion Allas. Opinions are like everybody got one. You got an opinion, I got an opinion. We come together, we share our opinion. Everybody go their separate ways. And that is fun. So, what we got going on today? Today, I'm going to share my opinion about a character from the Song of Ice and Fire series by the name of Varamir Sixskin. So, today I was listening to the audiobook and I've been listening to if you're a Game of Thrones fans, I bet you've watched the Game of Thrones TV series and you would think that's the best thing that's ever happened to TV. But then if you read the books or if you listen to the audiobooks, you realize that the tale is much more darker than what the TV producers put up for us to see. Some of the characters are much darker and the tales are much darker than what they put out on TV. So I think some of the characters were taken out from the TV series. Some of the characters in the book were taken out of the TV series. And one of those characters is Varamir Sixskin. So, Varamir Sixskin has an interesting story though. I mean, Varamir Sixskin is like one of, I don't know why he was, but maybe his story is too dark for, TV, so they took his character out. But there were other characters to whom I think their story were too dark for TV, so they took their story out. But the story of Varamir Sixskin gives us an insight into who Bran is, or Bran is going to be. So, in the book 6 of the Game of Thrones, I think it's book 5, A Dance with Dragons, the prologue is about Varamir Sixskin. So, if he was not such an important character, George R.R. Martin will not put him a whole prologue just for Varamir Sixskin. So, I think he was very, very important in the story, and it gives us an insight into how Bran is going to be like. Okay, so yeah. Now let's listen to Varamir Sixskin's story and tell me if he was worthy of being in the TV show or not. So Varamir Sixskin is a wildling skin changer. A skin changer is somebody who can transfer their consciousness into another animal or beast and have them do their will. So like Bran like this, he has wolf dreams. Bran can transfer his consciousness into his wolf, dire wolf, Summer, and then roam around and see what Summer sees, feels what Summer feels, smells what Summer smells. And that is a skin changer. And under the skin changers, they have those who are wargs. Wargs are those who can just transfer their consciousness into wolves or dogs. So Varamir Sixskin, he is a wildling skin changer, one of the most powerful skin changers, wildling. And he sat at the right-hand side of Mance Rayder. Now, if the Game of Thrones fans remember, Mance Rayder is the king beyond the wall. He united all the wildlings and marched them towards the wall because they were running away from the White Walkers. The White Walkers, they coming from the winter, from the cold part of the north, and they coming to kill everybody. So Mance Rayder gathered all the wildlings and they marched towards the wall and they tried to breach the wall and go to south of the wall. But the Night Watch, led by Jon Snow and the brothers of the Night Watch, they prevented them from doing so. And then Stannis brought his army and defeated them. So Varamir Sixskin was one of the comrades that followed Mance Rayder to the war. Now, Varamir Sixskin is a skin changer. So, at the time they marched to the war, he had control of 6 animals under his control. That is why he's called Sixskin, because he can transfer his consciousness into 6 beasts at the same time. So the first beast was his snow bear. He rides on a 13-foot snow bear to war. And then he has a shadow cat. And then he has 3 wolves, Sly, Stalker, and One Eye. Those are the 3 wolves. And then he has an eagle. So altogether is 6 beasts that he has. Now the eagle, he transfers his consciousness into the eagle to fly and scout and see what's going on. And then the wolves as well, the wolves, the bear, the shadow cat, he can transfer his consciousness into all of them and have them do as he please or as he wills. So at that time, Varamir Sixskin, it was very powerful and very feared beyond the wall, not of the wall. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because of his ability to skin change into different animals. Now, skin changers normally have the ability to skin change into one animal, like transfer their consciousness into one beast. But Varamir Sixskins has the ability to do all 6 animals at the same time. So when they march onto the wall with Mance Rayder, they attacked the first time and then they had to attack for the second time. So Varamir Sixskins has his consciousness in his eagle, scouting Castle Black and other areas of the world to see what the Black Brothers and Jon Snow are up to. Just at that moment, Stannis and his army were marching towards them. So when Varamir Sixskins, in the consciousness of the eagle, saw Stannis and his army, he was, you know what I'm saying, the split second, Melisandre of Ashai. Melisandre is a priestess of the fire god, and she rides with Stannis. She was able to see the eagle from far away and burn the eagle with fire magic. So when the fire touched the eagle, Varamir Sixskins felt it. He was in the consciousness of the eagle. So he went mad for a split seconds. You know what I'm saying? Because he was there and he died. He died and his consciousness transferred back into him. But for that split seconds, he lost his mind and he lost control of his 13-foot snow bear and Shadowcat. So they went wild in camp and ran away, scattering things and tearing people apart on their way out. Just that moment, Stannis and his army were upon them, scattering the whole camp of the wildlings, everybody running away. Mance Rayder was captured, and Varamir Sixskins, Tormund Giantsbane, and all the other comrades have to run. Some were killed, some were captured, and Varamir Sixskins was able to escape. But in escaping, he lost his snow bear and his Shadowcat. So he was just by himself, and his wolves were not with him. His wolves were gone too. So he was by himself, and he was in a group of people who were escaping from the war. So now Varamir Sixskins, the most powerful skin changer who can transfer his consciousness into any beast, anybody at all. You know what I'm saying? Now he's on the run. So as they were running, he comes upon a dead woman still with her coat on, because it's the north, it's snowing, it's cold, it's freezing temperatures. So this woman still has her coat on, and Varamir Sixskins don't have a coat on. So Varamir Sixskins tries to steal this woman's coat, and this woman's son comes from nowhere and stabs Varamir Sixskins in the stomach and runs away. So now Varamir Sixskins has been stabbed, he's bleeding out, he's weak, he's dying. And all the people that he was escaping with, everybody leaves him one by one. Some were going to regroup to come back and attack the wall. Some were going back to where they came from. And where they came from is west, because the White Walkers are coming from that side. So now people are scattered. They don't know what to do. They don't know where they are going. They don't know what's going on. And Varamir Sixskins is hurt. But then he has one spear wife with him. One of the women that he was traveling with, he told the woman that his name is Hagan. He didn't tell the woman that his name is Varamir Sixskins, because he's ashamed that Varamir Sixskins, the most powerful skin changer, now, you know what I'm saying, he's escaping, he's become a coward and escaping. So he tells this woman his name is Hagan. Now, Hagan is the name of the guy who trained Varamir Sixskins to become a skin changer. So when Varamir Sixskins was a kid, he was so jealous of his little brother that he transferred his consciousness into one of their family dogs and killed his junior brother. Killed him. So when his daddy came and saw all 3 dogs around the boy, he didn't know who killed the boy. So he took an axe and started killing all the dogs. Now when he went on to the last dog and killed him, he heard Varamir Sixskins screaming. So that is when he realized Varamir Sixskins is a skin changer. So then he took Varamir Sixskins and gave him to Hagan, so that Hagan can train him for him to hone his skills and become a powerful skin changer. Now Hagan told Varamir Sixskins about 3 abominations that a skin changer cannot commit. So as a skin changer, you cannot transfer your consciousness into a beast and eat the flesh of a human being. Second abomination, as a skin changer, you cannot transfer your consciousness into the mind of a beast and mate or have sex with another beast. That is also an abomination. And then the third abomination is, as a skin changer, you cannot take control of another human being's skin. So 1, you cannot eat human skin. 2, you cannot mate with a beast. And 3, you cannot take control of another human being's skin. But Varamir Sixskin, when he's a king, transferred his consciousness into one of their family dogs and killed his junior brother. And then his father sent him to Hagan to go train him. Hagan trained him. Hagan told him all the abominations, and Hagan showed him how to hunt with any beast and like how to tail everything. Hagan taught him everything he needed to know to be a Skinchanger. So at that time, he was known as Varamir Three Skins because he had control of 3 of his wolves. And then when Hagan was about to die, Hagan wanted to transfer his consciousness into his wolf because Skinchangers have second lives. If you're about to die, you can transfer your consciousness into the beast that you were bonding with when you were alive. So Alll had an eagle. Alll was also a Skinchanger. Alll had an eagle that he transfers his consciousness into and scouts. Jon Snow killed Alll. When Jon Snow killed Alll, Orell's consciousness went into the eagle. So, and when Orell's consciousness went into the eagle, Varamir Sixskins took control of the eagle. So the eagle that Varamir Sixskins is controlling belonged to Alll. Alll was killed by Jon Snow. So the eagle hates Jon Snow. And when Jon Snow was in the wildling camp, anytime he was riding with them, Varamir Sixskins hated Jon Snow for no reason. Because Varamir Sixskins bonded with the eagle, and the eagle hates Jon Snow. So now Varamir Sixskins hates Jon Snow. So that's how it becomes. When you bond with an animal, part of you becomes the animal, and the animal becomes part of you. So Alll, when he died, his consciousness went to the eagle. So Hagan, when Hagan was about to die, he wanted to transfer his consciousness into his beast, Greyskin. But Varamir Sixskins transferred his consciousness into Greyskin first and killed Hagan and ate his heart. Abomination! You cannot eat the flesh of another human being as a beast. But Varamir Sixskins, you know what I'm saying? He's so jealous of his master that he took control of his master's beast, killed his master, and ate his heart. And then he became known as Varamir Fourskins. But Greyskin died shortly after. So then he came back to his 3 wolves, and then later he took control of the Shadow Cat and the Snow Bear. And then when Alll died, he took control of Orell's eagle. So then he became Sixskins. So Varamir Sixskins has culminated his first abomination, eating human meat as a beast. Now that don't stop there. So now Varamir Sixskins is traveling with this group, and now he tells this woman he's Hagan. Hagan is his teacher that he killed and ate his meat, and also the woman knows him as Hagan. So this woman starts treating Varamir Sixskins' wound because he's been stabbed and he's bleeding now. So this woman starts treating his wound, and he tells Varamir Sixskins, hey, this wound will not hold. I sewed it as much as I can, but you're bleeding out. We got to move. They're moving. He puts him in a tent. He tells him he's coming back. She puts him in a tent and tells him he's coming very soon. So Varamir Sixskins goes to sleep, and his consciousness goes into one of his beasts, Sly. So his beasts, One Eye, Sly, and Stalker, they are a pack. They move together, and he can control any of them at any time. So when he fell asleep, his consciousness went into Stalker. So Stalker, Sly, One Eye, they were also searching. They are also hungry. So they were hunting. And Varamir Sixskins is in the consciousness of Stalker. So they come upon a group of wildlings who are also escaping the carnage that shall happen. 2 guys, a woman and her baby. She was breastfeeding her baby. Sly, Stalker, and One Eye come upon this group and they kill them. This wolf attacked these guys, kill them, kill the woman, kill the baby, and they eat all of them. And Varamir Sixskins is in the consciousness of Stalker, and he's enjoying the baby's meat. He's eating the baby because that's the most delicious. And they ate the woman. They said the woman's breast was full of milk, and the beasts were enjoying it. And then right after they finish eating, Varamir Sixskins' consciousness comes back into himself. And then he's like, damn, so am I so low right now that I'm eating children, babies? I'm eating, you know what I'm saying? But then he convinces himself that, well, the cold would have killed them anyways, or the White Walkers, or somebody else would have come and robbed them and killed them. This way was better, justifying why. And as a skin changer, if you transfer your consciousness into the mind of your beast and you go and you get a kill and you feed, your body don't get satisfied. You're still hungry. But then, as in the beast, you enjoyed it because you are a beast now, so you enjoy the fresh meat. But then, when you come back into your human body, you are still hungry, you are still weak. So that was Varamir Sixskin's experience. He comes back into his body and he's still bleeding out, he's still weak, he's still hungry, thirsty, don't know what to do. And then a plan comes into his mind that Varamir Sixskin, he cannot die. So he's gonna have to transfer his consciousness into either one of his wolves or the spear wife that is taking care of him. So now he decided, instead of being a wolf, he would transfer his consciousness into the spear wife and become the spear wife in his second life instead of the wolves. So he's over there contemplating, and the spear wife comes back. He said, "Hey, Varamir Sixskins, let's get out of here. The White Walkers and the wits and the zombie soldiers, they are coming. Let's go." And Varamir Sixskins is so weak. He's on the snowy, icy snow and feeling cold, weak, hungry. He tries to get up and he leaves a part of his flesh in the snow ice. And then with his last energy, his last power, he transfers his consciousness into the spear wife. Her name is Tistel. Yes. Her name is Tistel. So Varamir Sixskins transfer his consciousness into this woman. And this woman is still alive with her consciousness, and she jokes and she feels like there's something inside of her, like somebody's trying to take control of her. And then she shouts, "Abomination, abomination!" And Varamir Sixskins is fighting. Varamir Sixskins' body lies down dead. His consciousness is out of his body. His body lies dead. Now he's in this woman's consciousness, trying to take over this woman's consciousness and live his second life as this woman. And this woman is fighting him inside his consciousness, inside his head. He tries to control. The woman is fighting. The woman is screaming abomination. The woman plucks her eyes out. Ooh. She bites off her tongue. Varamir Sixskins tries to scream. The woman bites off her tongue. She's bleeding, bloody. Boom. Before Varamir Sixskins knows it, he's looking at his dead body. He's looking at the dead body of Tistel. And then he looks around. He sees Sly. He sees Stalker. And then he realizes, whoa, his consciousness has transferred into one eye. So look at Varamir Sixskins, even with his last act as a skin changer to do something good. No, he killed the spear wife trying to control her. And that is also an abomination. You cannot take control of another human being's skin. And Varamir Sixskins committed the abomination of trying to take control of Tistel, the spear wife's skin. Already, Varamir Sixskins was in the consciousness of Sly. Sly is the female wolf that Varamir Sixskins have. One eye is the male old wolf. He's very strong, he's old, and he's blind in one eye. That's why he's called One Eye. And Stalker is the young, agile, swift male wolf. And then Sly is the female wolf. One Eye mates with Sly when Sly is on heat. Varamir Sixskins walked into the consciousness of Sly whilst One Eye was mating her. Abomination! Varamir Sixskins is the most abominable skin changer of all time, and he didn't get a part in the Game of Thrones series. Why? Is it because his story is too dark, or is it because the storytellers did not know how to go about his story? But Varamir Sixskins is an interesting character because he's a skin changer. And Bran is also a skin changer, but Bran is an untrained skin changer. And Bran don't know some of the abominations because one time Bran walked into the consciousness of his dire wolf, Summer. And Summer was hunting. You know, Bran is crippled and weak. So he has this thing, you know what I'm saying? And he's over there with Hodor and Georgian and Mary Reed. And Summer walks into Bran walks into Summer sometimes. Bran actually loves walking into Summer. So one day, Bran was in Summer hunting, and Summer comes upon One Eye, Sly, and Stalker. They've just happened to chance upon fresh meat. A bunch of Knights of the Night Watch, the Black Brothers, dead in the snow. And Summer, Sly, and Stalker, Sly, and One Eye were about to feast. And then here is Summer. Summer is also hungry. Summer sees the dead body. Summer wants to eat. One Eye wants to fight him. Sly and Stalker just step back. One Eye comes forward. One Eye and Summer fight. Bran already knows that One Eye is a skin changer, because that time Varamir Sixskin's consciousness was in One Eye. So when Summer came upon him and saw that the wolf wanted to stand up to the dire wolf is twice the size of a wolf, and he was trying to fight him, Bran already knows that One Eye is a warg. Bran inside of Summer defeats Varamir Sixskin inside of One Eye, and One Eye surrenders. One Eye gives up. Sly and Stalker all give up. Now Sly, Stalker, and One Eye are part of Summer's pack. So Summer now has a pack. Summer the direwolf has a pack of wolves with him, and One Eye is in the consciousness of. So Summer has a warg in his pack, and Bran controls Summer. So Bran controls Summer in the pack, and Varamir Sixskin, the most fierce skin changer of all times, is part of Bran's pack. And Bran, when he defeated One Eye and they surrendered, Bran ate the human meat inside of Summer. Bran inside Summer's head enjoyed the brothers of the Night Watch meat on he ate them first, and then he stepped back when he was full before the pack of wolves also went there and gouged on the human meat. That is an abomination. Bran has committed an abomination as a skin changer. But Bran is our darling. But without the story of Varamir Sixskin, you wouldn't know that Bran has committed an abomination. Bran takes over Hodor's skin anytime he wants. That is an abomination. You cannot take control of another human being's skin. And Bran is always taking control of Hodor's skin and letting Hodor dance. And sometimes Hodor fights. Hodor don't know what's going on. Hodor gets frightened. But it's easy for Bran to bond with Summer, you know what I'm saying? Because Summer is his direwolf, and it's easier to bond with dogs than with other animals. But Bran has not only committed that abomination. The only abomination he's not committed is mating with another beast. But his skin changed into a beast and ate the flesh of human being. Abomination. He's taking control of Hodor's body. Abomination. So why didn't they give us the story of Varamir Sixskin, so we will know what Bran is actually going to be? And Bran is on his way to go see the Green Seer, to become a Green Seer, to become the One-Eye Raving guy. So he's the One-Eye Raving guy. And Green Seers, they can send their consciousness into trees, into birds, into anything they want. Green Seers can see thousands of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Everything that the tree has seen, any act that has happened in front or around that tree, a Green Seer can skin change or send his consciousness into that tree and see. And back in the day, the Green Seers, they used to use the weirwood trees. The weirwood trees that the children of the forest carved faces onto them. The Green Seers used those faces to spy on the first men and the Andals back in the day. So Bran can see through the trees. He can send his consciousness into one of those weirwood trees and see what is happening at the present, or something that has happened thousands of years ago. And look at what they did to Bran in the TV series. Very poor, you know what I'm saying? And all the Stark children are skin changes except for Sansa and Robb. Robb, you know what I'm saying? But when they said sometimes Robb's direwolf fought like Robb, because sometimes he felt Robb's anger, sometimes he felt danger, and Robb was so stupid. That's why he died, and I'm happy he died, because he was a dishonorable king. But Arya can walk into Nymeria and see what is going on. Arya can walk into Cat when he was at the face of the Faceless Man training. When she became blind, she was able to send her consciousness into a cat that roamed around and was able to see everything and was able to tell his master everything that was going on. So Sansa is Arya is also a skin changer. She can transfer her consciousness not only into a direwolf but into any animal that she wants. Jon Snow is also having wolf dreams with what's the name? See me forget Jon Snow's Ghost. He can see what Ghost sees and everything. So all of them, Bran, Rickard is in Skagos. Rickard and his wolf with his dire wolf is in Skagos. Davos is on his way to go look for them. I'm saying, so I mean, some of these characters were important for the TV show for us to know, and the book is not finished. We are still waiting on the rest of the story, but the TV series is already finished, and they gave us some 2 parts that, I mean, audience did not like, but whatever. So let me know what you think about Varamir Sixskin, whether he was worthy to be in the TV series or whether his story was too dark for TV, so it was okay for the showrunners to not add him into the show. But today I was listening to the audiobook driving around, and I'm like, wow, Varamir Sixskin is an interesting story, man. Let me share his story with my audience and see what they think. If I have any Game of Thrones fans here, please let me know what you think about the Game of Thrones TV series and any characters that you found interesting that were in the books and you did not see in the show, or whether if you've not seen the show and you want to know more about certain characters like Victarion, like the other Aegon that is in Westeros right now trying to claim his kingdom, like so many characters. So people, this is all time we allow. Today we talked about Varamir Sixskin, a Skinchanger who committed all the abominations as a Skinchanger, and at the end of the day, he ended up living his second life as One Eye, his dire wolf, and is part of Bran's pack now. Thank you. Now, please, here is where we end today's edition of Opinion Allas. Opinions are like everybody got one. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Help small business. Thank you. We'll come back next week with another episode where I will tell you why LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. He's the GOAT. Yes. Thank you very much.